So, today I look at something that is long overdue. Way too long overdue. Something that never did show up at retail here. Something that doesn't belong to me, it belongs to Paul, friend of the channel. And it is the Transformers Power of the Primes Wave 2 Leader Class Rodimus Unicronus. He is the last of the Power of the Primes Leader Class figures that I have to look at. And he's going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe. Check out Machinery Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors, NL, and me everywhere. And this is Rodimus Unicronus. Long overdue. Long overdue. It's funny, I've taken a look recently at the last of the G1 figures in my collection, the last of the Transformers Prime figures in my collection, the last, at least as of right now, movie figures in my collection with Studio Series Ironhide, and now the last of the Power of the Primes figures, at least for the leader class size. And this guy was a long time coming. I kept waiting, and kept waiting for him to show up around here at regular retail. Never did, and I am thinking as of this recording that he's probably not gonna come now. I got this guy from tftoys.ca, and I was really hard on Rodimus Prime. As a matter of fact, in my 2017 top 10, or I guess top 10, worst toys of that year, Rodimus Prime from Power of the Primes came in really high, if not number one. I thought it was awful and felt like a test shot. What about this guy? Does he feel any better, or is he just as bad? Well, let's find out. In fact, how about I stop babbling about this guy and we head over to the table and take a closer look at him. And so comes the day that I never thought was going to happen. Finally, I look at the Transformers Power of the Primes Wave 2 Rodimus Unicronus. This is not mine. This actually belongs to friend of the channel, Paul, and I appreciate him letting me take a look at it. Whew. So, what can I say about this? It's the Rodimus Prime reuse, and Rodimus Prime and I have had a bit of a rocky relationship. How will this guy fare? Well, we're about to find out. Because I've already shown the conversion going from big robot to kind of, I guess, trailer and smaller robot, and then finally to vehicle, I'm going to do it the other way back. And I believe I said during the Rodimus Prime review that going from big robot to vehicle is harder than going from vehicle back to big robot, and that's true. Very true. I also said that Rodimus Prime felt like a test shot to me. What about this guy? Well, we're about to find out. Of course, we're going to start off and take a quick look at the packaging. And of course, we have packaging here. It is what it is. We have artwork here on the front and on the side here. Over here, we just have the images of the primes as we have seen them before. And then on the back, we have like the whole product shot and the write-up, but it does not have the usual bio for Power of the Primes where it says, how will so-and-so such and such wield the power of the Primes. This time it says how the heroic Autobot Hot Rod was corrupted by the Matrix of Chaos with one sole purpose, to destroy the Matrix of Leadership. And we have a Decepticon symbol. Originally in stock photography, it was a shattered glass Autobot symbol. You know, he was corrupted by a Unicron. Does that make him a Decepticon? No, he's still an Autobot. He was just a bad Autobot. Kind of. Sorta. He wasn't really operating under his own free will. But that's the box. He also comes with this harpoon gun thing, I guess. It still doesn't hold together that great. It's still two pieces put together exactly like the one that came with Rodimus Prime. And we have the cradle for the Matrix of Chaos, and while you can put Prime Masters and Titan Masters in there, by rights, that little purple piece goes in there, and now we have, I guess, the Matrix of Chaos. So, there you go, it's a Matrix. A gigantic instruction booklet is also included here. It's instructions. They're all right. You know, they're okay. It's not so much that he's hard. The back is a little bit complicated at times. And last but not least, he comes with the ever popular collector card. And there's some beautiful art, and it's Rodimus Unicronus. This is the one for Rodimus Alpha Trion Unicronus, and it basically says that he corrupts the databanks of Vector Sigma. That sounds bad. Anyway, moving on. And here we have our first comparison, that being the vehicle mode of Rodimus Unicronus and the vehicle mode of Rodimus Prime. It's the exact same vehicle mode. Rolls the same, it's fine vehicle mode. I will say this, I like it on Rodimus Unicronus better because the color scheme is more unified. Instead of having this maroon and this red on Rodimus Prime, we have pure black. And I do like the purple accent on Rodimus Unicronus. It's like a metallic purple. It looks glorious. Absolutely dig it. I'll say it now. On Rodimus Prime, I gave his paint apps a 7.5 because I didn't like the mismatch. Based on, I guess, animation accuracy for Rodimus Unicronus, based on his appearance in the Power of the Primes web series, really, I think we're pretty much just missing the faceplate on the smaller robot. Besides that, I think it's pretty much the same thing. We might have some mishmash going on between a Decepticon and Autobot symbol, but it's a solid 9.25. It's a great looking Shattered Glass Rodimus Prime, or Rodimus Unicronus, if you will. So, right away I'm giving it very strong paint apps. We haven't even gone to the other modes yet. I like this better than Rodimus Prime. What about the articulation and the conversion? Well, we're going to have to start with the conversion and do that first. We'll end up splitting the larger vehicle mode apart and do the smaller vehicle mode. I'll show you the base mode. That's possible because you could do it here with this guy as well. And then we'll go to smaller robot and finally larger robot. Sounds like a lot, but it won't be because it's a lot easier to go back into those modes from here. That being said, I looked at Rodimus Prime way back in episode 348, and I looked at an update on him and how to do the base mode in episode 355. So this will kind of be all of that done very quickly. So if you still have problems with how to do certain conversion elements here, hey, check out 348 and 355. This is cohesive, this looks great, this rolls great. Like I said, we're going to split him apart because this is the full upsized version of Rodimus Unicronus, and I had wondered if we were going to see that in the series, and we did in maybe the last episode, maybe the second to last episode, and I was glad that we got the upsized version since this guy has that option. Nevertheless, in this vehicle mode, can we just go to the car mode? Of course we can, the exact same way. We pick that up and flip it up. We do the same on the other side and flip it up. We pick these up from the side on both sides. If I can do it over here. And we detach this whole piece and take it out of it. To get the car mode, basically from this point, it's pretty simple. You just bring this down on the side and you bring this down on the side and you tab them in and boom, you have a small car mode. Okay. This looks sleek. I like it. I like this car mode fine on Rodimus Prime too. I really dig the purple on the hood. I really dig the red on the windshield. I like the gray accents. Would it be nice if there was a little more silver than gray? Sure, but I can buy gray. I'm okay with it, man. What about now the back? What do we do with the trailer section that we just took off? Anything? Well, while we have this small piece, let's go to the trailer section because this is a vehicle. It is what it is. Now, to be fair, there are a couple of variations on this. I'm going to only show one, really, because, I don't know, why not? I only need to show one, I guess. And I hope I remember it. I really, really hope I remember it. So, these are like this, and we flip down these feet, and we open this out, and open this out, and we flip the whole body around again. Yes, like this. And now we flip up those legs there. When we do all of that, is that right? I think that's right. When we do all of this here, we can now open these out. And we can close those back. And boom, now you have the like weapon base mode thing that he, I guess, would have had in G1. That being said, you also have the ability to, I think, put this on over here, if I'm not mistaken. I just don't remember how it's done. Okay. Going this way? How did this go on? Oh, on the top, my mistake, that slot there. Like that, my mistake. We have that on, it's his blaster, and I know it's a little like out of shot here. Let me just rearrange things slightly. There you go, how's that for something just a little bit better? But yeah, he could do like his kind of base mode thing. I think that that's so cool. I think it adds so much playability. Can the smaller robot man this? Of course it can. And speaking of the smaller robot, that takes us right back to the car now, doesn't it? So here again we have a car, we're going to turn it into a robot. That's why this is back a little ways. So how do we do that? We pick this off the side and bring it up. We detach this from the side and bring it up. That's going to basically bring it up on the arms. On the back here, you kind of need to, this is a bit weird, you have like a T-bar that comes down and then another little tab that goes in, so you need to sort of detach the tab a bit, if I can do it, and detach it from like the little T-bar section. I showed that in more detail with Rodimus Prime, but it's easy to get off, a little harder to get in, easy to get off. Then this flips up over the back. Now I will say this, doing this with this guy is frightening because not this hinge back here, but the one up here that's in the section with the windshield it's probably gonna click. It's really scary tight. Scary tight. Ah, not too bad there, but coming back, oh, maybe it was just the first time doing it. Oh, maybe it was just the first time doing it. Maybe it just needed to be loosened up. Never mind. Taking that up around the back. We come to the back of the car here, and we open out basically a shin, and we flip out a foot, close up the shin. We open out a shin, flip out a foot, close up the shin, and now we can stand this guy up. So with the bottom of him done, let's get to the top here, which should, hopefully, be easy. Although, on Rodimus Prime, these shoulders, the way that they're tabbed in, is quite challenging. Let's hope it's not the case here. That should come off. And down. Easier. Nice. Nice. Easier and down. Nice. Then this whole piece comes forward. We reach in here and kind of wiggle this front bumper out, turn it around to bring out his robot mode face, and we close this, or we should be able to close this back up, and we rotate around that red section. I was mistaken here. I said that we close this up. We don't in this mode. We just rotate it around, because now this needs to come up over the back, and this little tab here locks in somewhere up here. Oh, up over the lip up there, like on Rodimus Prime. Again, I'm going through that pretty quickly, but in the end, boom, here you have Rodimus Unicronus in his not evolved, smaller robot mode. He looks fantastic. He really does. I absolutely like this guy. But that's not to say he's absolutely perfect either. The paint apps, I still stick with what I said, 9.5. I wish he had the faceplate here like he did on the show. He doesn't, unfortunately. Now, that being said, we do have to talk about his articulation next. And this is going to be a part of it. We have the head that can go left and it can go right. It can't really look up or down. The arms, they can go out to the side about that far. Not perfect, but not bad. Better, I think a little bit better tolerance maybe than they were on Rodimus Prime. Like I feel like I struggled more to get them out on Rodimus Prime. We have the very nice deep elbow. We have a swivel at this ball joint down here, but hey, it works just fine. Nothing, I don't think, at the wrist. We don't have a waist. This hip skirt, it can come up. Now on Rodimus, I basically started to shave things away in here to get a better movement forward and kind of broke the figure in two. On this guy, again, they can only go forward that far before you start hitting plastic. Don't shave it away to try and give yourself more room because you're going to have him end up kind of falling in two. Now, he still sticks together just fine, but that will be for small robot mode. My Rodimus Prime will probably never go back to the large robot mode. The leg only goes back that far. There's your big limit. We do have a swivel. It's down around the knee though, but we do have one. And speaking of the knee, it's a little under 90 degrees. The legs are where this guy suffers, unfortunately. Oh, and I guess he can do this if that's, I don't know why he'd want to do that, but he can do it. Really, that's for the larger robot, but hey, it's like he can do it. Just saying. He stands great. I'll give him that much. He stands pretty great. Standing him up there. Now, can he man the base mode? Yeah, of course he can. It looks like this. It looks great. I mean, it looks like this guy's coming to do some real damage to you. I love this base mode. I think it's great. As a matter of fact, you can have this facing up against, and this is an epic showdown. He can face up against himself. I mean, come on. Come on. How cool is that? Now, this is where the comparisons between the two of these guys end, because as I said, he cannot go into the large robot mode. Unfortunate for some. For me, I don't really mind it because I don't really want him in the large robot mode. Like an ultra mega Rodimus Prime doesn't work for me. He never appeared like that. Truth is, I'd like a Voyager one, but hey, this will do until the day comes that we get that. And it does it even better considering we have this kind of base mode thing. However, Rodimus Unicronus did evolve larger, so I think the big robot does match that better. Speaking of going to the big robot mode, we're going to look at that next. So we're going to start with this like base mode thing, and we're going to remove the blaster from there, and we're going to straighten that up like that. We're going to straighten the legs down and put those down on the side. Now, out of package, I will note it right now, just so you know, to kind of watch for this when you get yours out. The heels are up in the feet. Flip out, flip out. Split the legs apart. And for all intents and purposes, you kind of got the lower body sort of done. Or at least the very lower body. Bring that up. Straighten this up, bring this down. And that's kind of the lower body done, because we're going to end up putting a matrix in here. Now, that being said, we do have one other thing that we need to deal with here, and that's going to be the removal of these arms. Actually, I'll turn it around and show you. From here. Actually, I guess I need to kind of reposition this a bit, because this dude's getting tall, man. So, we have the lower body done, like I said. Now we need to deal with this. So we bring this down, and now you can see that we have two arms up here. This is where the parts forming element comes in, and these need to come out. I showed before how they attach in there, and the way that they attach in there is they only go in one way. But to get them off, as long as you can pick at it enough, they'll come off. There you go. Here is our kind of main body, just waiting for the other robot to come. Speaking of the other robot, that brings us back to this guy, because this is how we're going to get what we need for the rest of the, upgraded Rodimus Unicronus. We begin by, I hope I remember this right, we begin by opening up the chest, pulling this out, turning the head around, bringing it in, and closing this up again. Then we can put the shoulders back up into place, just as if we were going to vehicle mode. Although this arm now seems to be locked in position, which is not really what we want. Pardon the technical difficulties, but his elbows were locked into position for car mode, and on this guy those are really tight. They did not want to bend, and where this isn't mine, I really didn't want to risk breaking it. So, that being the case, now that we have those sort of started to bend, we can put the shoulders up into place as if we were going to car mode. And we will bend these up out of the way for now. The whole backpack section here comes off. This whole thing turns around and we fold it up. Pretty good so far. The legs, they do full splits. I didn't show that in articulation because I kind of didn't need to show it in articulation. We open up the shin piece and put the foot back. So we open up the shin, we put the foot back in, close up the shin. We open up the shin, put the foot back in, and close up the shin. We bend and we rotate it around. We bend and we rotate it around. These are his shins. They are now on the back, or they should end up on the back of this guy. And last but not least, we should just have to fold down the front of the car to reveal the large robot head. Once you flip down the chest, you reveal the big robot head. Dum dum dum! Okay, I don't know how epic that is. I don't know. I don't know if it's epic. Yeah, so there you go. Now, we do need to attach these arms, and really they need to go on over like little tabs right here. I'm gonna try and get in closer to show you that, sorta. So this is what we have for the arm, and you'll notice that there's a clip here and a clip here. There are two tabs on the arm, I'll show that, they clip in there. There's also another third tab that sort of goes over a lip that's here. Lining it all up is a little bit of a pain, but not as bad on this guy as it is on Rodimus Prime. I find them really hard to get on and off on Rodimus Prime, not so much on this dude. This tab and this tab is what clips in. This is the third tab that goes up over. I already have one arm on, and the other arm on looks like this. And now the upper body's all done. Kind of. Is it? Over here, I have the gray thigh of the smaller robot facing such a way that you don't see any of the screws that are used to hold the thigh together. Over here, I do have those screws showing. Why do I point that out to you? Because if you do not have those screws facing toward the front of the robot, the shoulder moves up about that far. I think that's the proper way for it. However, if you do have those screws showing, the shoulder can move up this far. It vastly improves the range of motion. Just saying. So now we're going to put the big boy together as one piece. The kind of back section of the smaller robot where his windshield and the spoiler and stuff is slots down in here. Kind of in his, we'll say, lower pelvis, slots down right here, and then the front of him comes down and solidifies on here. So I'll kind of hold up that front so you can see what I'm talking about as we go through here. We bring this section down and in first. Then we make sure that we solidify that. And before we bring this front section down, we're going to take his matrix and place that in its right location, deep, deep, deep into his tummy right there. And then we bring this down and around. And in the end, boom, here we have the mighty Rodimus Unicronus. I will also note before we look at his articulation and whatnot and him closer that besides for the sections locking in that I said, the smaller robot arms should be absolutely flush with his backpack. They do tab into position. I'll kind of show you that now just so you know what we're talking about here. So you come here and you can tab this out. There's a little section there of molded plastic. It, by rights, tabs in. It doesn't really look like a regular tab, but it does help solidify the body into position. So I said with Rodimus Prime that his paint ups were a 7.5. For this guy, I said they're like a 9.5. His articulation is better than it was before. Largely because things seem more solid on this guy. The arms now, I know, can go up here. I guess they could on Rodimus Prime as well. I do find that when you rotate the arm forward and back, however, that you do often rotate the thigh with it. Some people have said the thigh locks in. I've never been able to find a way to do it. We do have a bicep swivel. We do have an elbow to 90 degrees. There may even be, oh, I forgot to flip these back. You do flip those back. I don't think there's any wrist swivel. Sorry about that. You do flip those back onto his arm to reveal his hands. There's no waist, I don't believe. No waist. We have the hip skirt that can come up, and the legs can go well forward, but I do not like this, that backwards knee. They can't really go back because of this huge, egregious backpack. They can, however, oh, I thought they could go further than go out to the side about that much. We do have an ankle tilt. So, I mean, he can still sport a pose like that. We do have a knee that's 90 degrees, so that's all right. Here's the thing. I wish that he had a waist. I wish the wrist moved. I wish that we didn't have these kind of unsightly shoulder pieces. They're not as bad in gray as they were in orange. He still has a few limits. You have that big backpack on the back. Before I said the articulation was a 7. I'm going to give it a 7.5 now because I know that the shoulders are better. I would give it a 7.5 now for the original as well. I just don't think the original should have been this big. For this guy, definitely should have been this big. What about the transformation? I said that the original felt like a test shot. This guy doesn't. Things seem to line up better. The tolerances seem better on him. I think that this is the better use of this mold. It's probably the intended use of this mold. Before I said the transformation was about a 5. Honestly, I'd say now the transformation, because it feels better with this guy, is more like an 8. This is a way, way better use of the mold. I did say that for Rodimus Prime, this representation for me as a collector was about a 9. Not that it was perfect, had a lot of flaws, but I thought that it was the best representation that we had. For this guy, it is definitely, bar none, the best representation that we have of Rodimus Unicronus for a Shattered Glass Rodimus Prime. The overall score for this guy, as were the original, got a paltry 5 because of certain issues that made him feel unfinished. Because I think the color is better, because I think the tolerances are better, I'm going to say that this guy's a solid 8. This is a good figure. This is how this mold always should have been. And here we are once again, and wow, color me surprised. First, the colors work way better on this version of the mold than they do on Rodimus Prime. Secondly, the accuracy is a closer match to the animation because we do have animation for this guy, and he did get upsized. I was afraid we would get to the end of that web series for Power of the Primes and that this upsized version wouldn't present itself, but it did, and this is pretty accurate to it. So I dig it. I love the purple, the metallic looking purple on this guy. The black makes everything look cohesive and unified. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because I do adore purple so much. My favorite color, don't you know? Couldn't you guess? Anyway, the articulation, to be fair, it's a little bit better, I guess, on Rodimus Prime as well. Now that I know kind of how to put the thighs of the smaller robot into the right position as shoulders to give you the best range of motion possible. The legs, I still don't like the legs on either the smaller robot or the bigger. Like, I don't like the backwards bending knee. I don't like the limitations forward and back. I still don't like the egregious backpack. So there are improvements that could be made there. However, the conversion works a lot better on this guy. I don't know, maybe my Rodimus Prime was a little bit of a dud, but the tolerances were off enough on that one that it felt like a test shot and did not like to hold together. This guy goes together really quite smoothly, and I kind of wish that my Rodimus Prime went together as nicely as well. Who knows? Maybe I would have had a better experience and marked him better. Nevertheless, like I just said, I think that this is what this mold always should have been. Anyway, let me know what you think about this guy, and if yours has good tolerances or not. You know, I love to hear what you guys think about these guys. Again, I'm going to say, please hit that subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. Again, thanks for giving me some of your extremely valuable time, and I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.